So here we are out in the Macan, and there is no escaping the fact that the Macan has been an absolute runaway success for Porsche. As soon as they ventured into the Cayenne and Macan market, it just blew up. The Macan has been around since 2014. And I have to say, I think the reason why it's been such a success is just simply the way it looks. The Macan is a stunning car to look at. I think it's the right balance of kind of SUV crossover and sportiness. And I'm not a fan of SUVs. If you show me an Urus or a Purosangue, I just think, why? Why don't you just get a proper Lambo or a proper Ferrari? I'd rather go for a full fat kind of 4x4, you know, the likes of, for example, a G-Wagon, great cars, Range Rover, Defender, something along those lines, something that's just designed to be a proper 4x4. But there is no escaping the fact the Macan is indeed a great looking car. The most surprising thing about this Macan, though, is what lies beneath. Yes, it is just a 2-litre. I know, it sounds kind of funny saying 2-litre and Porsche in the same sentence, but that's the reality. It is just a 2-litre. You can indeed get a 2-litre in the 718, that flat 4, it's available there as well, but it just seems funny to be driving around in a Porsche that is just 2 litres. It's not quite a flat 4 in this. It is the 2-litre that is borrowed from the GTI, so VW lump in this. Inline 4, 261 brake horsepower and 295 pound-foot of torque. And it's still a heavy car, sort of 1850, 1900 kilos-ish, depending on what's in it, of course. So just shy of 2 tons. So it's not a super nimble car, but here's the thing, it does actually feel pretty deft. Porsche have done a very good job hiding that weight, and with such a small, what you could say underpowered engine, it really does pick up very well indeed. The steering is probably a little bit lighter than you'd like, and the connection is, I guess, as good as it gets with a typical SUV, where you always kind of feel a little bit high up, and you know, the delay in the steering seems to be ever present. And this one has a bit of a strange issue whereby the accelerator kind of just feels like it's sticking a little bit. So could need a bit of oiling there. But it is a very, very nice place to be. So the Macan now, here's another great thing about it. The Macan, the base Macan, is £50,800. £50,800 for a Porsche. Still not the cheapest. 718, I believe, is cheaper in base form, but £50,800 for a Porsche is, in this day and age, an absolute bargain. But one of the biggest problems you're going to have if you want one of these is, of course, the rather scary Porsche wait list, which at the moment for one of these, I believe, is about 2 years or so. So you're going to be a man or a woman with a lot of patience should you be putting your order down in the spec sheet today. But definitely a car that will hold its value very well. We know what Porsche residuals are like. Even in the face of a rather turbulent market right now, these things are still holding their value very well. There are 2 flavours of 2-litre Macan. There is the Macan and the Macan T. This is the Macan T. You can tell the difference between the two by the tailpipes. The Macan has single, square, well, rectangular tailpipes. This has got twin pipes for a bit more sportiness either side, so those dual nozzles. So it adds a little bit of flair. The difference between this and the base Macan is sports chrono package and suspension. You get a standard on the Macan T. You also get access to my favourite Porsche colour, which is, in fact, maybe that or Arctic Grey, sorry, are my favourite Porsche colours. So, you know, the difference is minimal, and the Macan T is about another £6,000 more over this one, over the base Macan. So the other thing as well is, of course, you don't get a Porsche without a lot of options ticked, and this one has indeed got a lot of options ticked. It's got the nice pano roof, which adds a lot of light to the cabin. It's got the different drive modes available because it's got the sports chrono package. Definitely a few other options, such as the Bose sound system in this. So you've got a little boombox in the boot there, which is a bit boy racery, I think. But the handling of the car is very good. I think the other thing I feel is I just wish this would have a diesel lump. And I understand that, you know, diesel is going the way of the dinosaurs right now. They're selling less and less. It's harder to drive them due to things like ULEZ. But the combination of a sports SUV and a diesel engine works fantastically. I think the V8 diesel you can get in the Cayenne, I think it's a Land Rover unit, is absolutely bonkers. The torque in that car, I've been out in one, is breathtaking. It is painful, and it just works really well, that combination of diesel and heft. I think you want that low down torque available. But this, you put your foot down in it, honestly, it's really, really impressive. I am blown away just by how well it moves for a 2-litre, 2-ton car. They've done some pretty good things here. This colour is crayon, which is another great Porsche colour. I'm not so sure it works so well on the Macan. I think big cars, this colour, do they work as well? The girlfriend didn't seem to be very approving of the colour combo in this car, and I think crayon does work on smaller Porsches, and the sort of darker greys work better on big Macans. But in terms of the cabin, well, it's very well laid out. If you're familiar with Porsche, it should make complete sense to you. It follows a similar theme to other Porsches available with the PCM entertainment system, the functions on the stalk, and it is very comfortable. The seats are, again, very comfortable. The driving position is high, but not too high. I think they've done a pretty good job of making you kind of feel that you're low down, feeling that you're low down in what is essentially a big car. But I do like it. You feel they sort of hidden the fact it is a tall car very nicely indeed. Other things we need to look at. If I flip it into Sport Plus mode here, you definitely feel the body roll is instantly reduced. So going around quite a sharp roundabout here, bit of understeer there, back end kicking out, you heard it beep, but expected, and you know, not doing anything unsurprising for a car that is so big. But they've really done well hiding that bonnet, the body roll, with the active suspension. So a good job there. Now, you've got to look at this car in terms of practicality, and yeah, practical Porsche. Who wants Porsche? Who wants a practical Porsche? I don't think a practical Porsche, that is a tongue twister and a half. Who wants a practical Porsche? Well, some people do, you know. They want to own a Porsche maybe and put dogs and kids in the back, kids in the seat, dog in the boot maybe, or dog in the back, dog in the front seat, wherever you want to put it. But don't put your kids in the boot. That's probably not advisable. It is definitely a sensible Porsche, and I think if you were able to buy a base spec one for £50,800, if you were allowed to put an order in, I don't think Porsche would let you without checking a few options, but you're always going to, right? You have to be looking at a car that is really, really going to hold its value well. I think it's a very, very safe bet, a very, very sensible purchase. Should I go so far as to say a very sensible purchase to buy? The MPG in this car is pretty good.
Okay, so I might have lied a little there and had to record this bit in post. In fact, the MPG was pretty poor. I was only getting about 19 or so around town, extending to about 24, 25 on longer stretches of road. So this is not a car you should be looking at as something which is going to be economical, because it really is pretty diabolical there.
What has really blown me away about this car is the fact that it is just a 2-litre. I was surprised getting out in this thing and driving it that it is indeed a 2-litre. It just, to give it its dues, they've done a great job. If you want to go a bit more juicy, of course, you've got the Macan S there, which has a 3-litre V6, a bit more heft. But this 2-litre turbocharged lump, they have done a really good job of marrying the Macan chassis up with that lump. It just works very well. We're going to try a little bit of a squirt off the lights here in Sport Plus to see how we get on. It is, of course, a wet day. It's in the UK. If it wasn't wet, you'd worry where you are. So foot down, and that's really, really, really impressive, I have to say, for a 2-litre in a car this big. What a great job they've done. Fantastic. Some other things to note here. It is, of course, 4-wheel drive. It's got off-road modes and hill descent capability. So it is going to be pretty capable should you need that traction. And you saw there, pulling off those lights, there was very, very little wheel spin, if any at all. I'm sure as you get to juicier Macans, there might be a little tendency to spin the wheels a little bit, but very, very impressive the way they've been able to have a 4-wheel drive system that ultimately caters for pretty much whatever you want to do. And that is the key thing here. Versatility is what you want out of a car like this. So again, they have done a fantastic job there. It's very hard to fault this car from an all-round capability perspective. I think it is very, very good in that way. How would it be around a track? Would you take this around a track? I mean, it's heavy, right? Cars get heavier and heavier. They tend to weigh as much as planets these days, so people just have to chuck more power at them. And I think you probably get a bit frustrated if you had to take this round a track, that it wasn't quite doing what you wanted or hoped that it would do. But for just pootling around town, and wow, what a lovely, lovely place to be. Nice job, Porsche.